Welcome to this channel. In this channel, we talk about two primary things. One is about health and wellness, about how to take care of this body, how to take care of this mind for a long, healthy life, to improve the health span and the life span. We talk about various health related topics and wellness related topics. That is one aspect of this channel. The second is, this is also a platform where we talk about Vedanta. In other words, we talk about or we discuss, we inquire into the most difficult and existential questions that demand an answer, such as, who am I? What is the purpose of this life? Where was I before I came into this world? What does it even mean to come into this world and to go away from this world? What happens or what is there after this body leaves this world? Questions such as these existential questions that at one point or the other in our lives, we ask these questions either to ourselves or the questions just come up, but we get busy in our lives and we carry on with our mundane, busy lives. So, here is a space, a platform where we inquire into the existential queries that demand an answer. Vedanta is such a framework in Indian knowledge systems. It is called a darshana, which means a vision of the rishis. It is a product of the vision of the ancient Indian seers or the rishis or the sages. They provided us with a certain framework wherein many of these questions and answers are embedded, but unless we use our own intellect, we inquire ourselves, we don't see the beauty of it. So, this series is Vedanta series, where I am going to talk about a specific book or grantha called TattvaBodha. In Sanskrit, it is called TattvaBodha. Here in Vedanta, it is written in Sanskrit. So, we are going to introduce, as we talk about some of these granthas, we are also going to learn a little bit of Sanskrit here and there, just a touch of it, because it is beautiful language. It is very analytical, it is very precise. It is like a building blocks. You take small pieces and you put all these pieces together and you get beautiful kavyas or beautiful poems or beautiful literature out of it. So, here I am going to introduce a grantha or a textbook or a treatise called TattvaBodha. Who is the author of this TattvaBodha? It has been ascribed to Shankaracharya, but we do not know which Shankaracharya wrote it or put it together, whether it is Adi Shankaracharya or some other Shankaracharya after him. Regardless of who the author is, it is a beautiful grantha. It is a very introductory grantha, introductory book for those who are interested in Vedanta, because it provides the terms, the technical terms. See, here, like in any other knowledge systems or sciences, you have technical terms. For example, when I say Atma, it does not simply mean soul or spirit. Depending on the context, depending on the situation, its meaning changes. So, that technical terms, or in those technical terms are introduced, and some of the concepts in Vedanta are introduced in TattvaBodha. So, I will read out. TattvaBodha has several slokas or mantras, slokas. We will read each sentence, explain it, and continue like that. It is a short grantha. Before I move on to the actual TattvaBodha, I want to talk about three important things that we ought to know before we engage in any such inquiry into these Sanskrit or Indian knowledge systems. Number one, every topic such as this starts with a Mangala sloka. Mangala sloka is like invocation to the divine, invocation to the unknown force for three reasons. One is Ashir Namaskriya. See, it is said that it is done, Mangala sloka is done for one or more of the three purposes. Ashir Namaskriya Vastu Nirdeshaha. Ashihi Namaskriya Vastu Nirdeshaha. Ashihi. Either, depending on the context, it is either giving blessing or seeking blessing. Most of the time it is. So, the author, see, this Mangala sloka is written before every major work of literature or art or Vedanta, in regardless of what it is. Even for example, in Raghuvamsham, written by Kalidasa. Kalidasa is a very famous, extraordinary poet, and he had written numerous Mahakavyas. He has written numerous kavyas, and one of them is called Raghuvamsham. Raghuvamsham, in that Raghuvamsham, he talks about the ancestors of Sri Lord Rama, from Raghu all the way to Rama. Raghu was one of the ancestors. That is why it's called Raghuvamsham, ancestors of Sri Rama. So, he talks about that. In that, he starts off the Raghuvamsham Kavyam with a Mangala sloka that is very famous. Vagarthaviva samprattau Vagartha pratipattaye Jagatah pitarau vande Parvati parameshwarau. Vagarthaviva samprattau Vagartha pratipattaye Jagatah pitarau vande Parvati parameshwarau. This is the Mangala sloka of that kavya, Raghuvamsham. Like this, it could be a Vedanta grantha or a kavya, any other poetry or literature. Almost it is a tradition, it is a convention to start off every major work with a Mangala sloka. For instance, we would start off such a talk that we are having with a Mangala sloka such as Sahana bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejas vina vadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai om shanti shanti shanti. Here, this Mangala sloka is a Shanti mantra. A Shanti mantra is where we are saying, we are giving a particular Shanti. We are saying that we are about to indulge in a discussion. So, please provide us Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So, Shanti mantra or Mangala sloka will ground us and it will help us to succeed in what we are about to do. So, Mangala sloka has three purposes. Ashihi, seeking or giving blessings. Namaskriya, we are bowing to the divine. Namaskaraha. So, that kriya is called Namaskriya. The kriya where we do namaskara is called namaskriya. Vastu nirdeshaha. Vastu nirdeshaha means this Mangala sloka is talking about something that is going to occur or happen in the coming kavya or grantha. Either it is going to talk about a certain character or a plot of the kavya or something related to that. So, ashihi vastu nirdeshaha namaskriya. So, here similarly TattvaBodha is also going to start with a Mangala sloka. So, that is one factor we would like to remember as we move forward. The second one is, before we embark into any grantha or any work or any learning in Indian knowledge systems or in the Indic knowledge sciences or works, there is a concept called Anubandha Chatushtayam. Anubandha Chatushtayam means fourfold requirements before we start such a study, any major study in Indian knowledge sciences or works. What are the fourfold requirements? One is Adhikaari. Adhikaari means what are the qualifications of the student or the seeker. Qualifications, see for instance, if you apply for a college, they are going to ask you what are your qualifications to embark in a study either in a college or a school. Even for a kid who joins into kindergarten, they are going to test him, right? Test her or him about, is that student qualified to start this study, any study, small or big. Similarly, before we start any such study in Vedanta or any other, even Vedanta or any other yoga or Mimamsa or Nyaya, Vishaya, all these are Indian knowledge systems. Any such knowledge system related to Indian knowledge, there are four. First one is, number one is Adhikaari. What are the qualifications of a seeker? Adhikaari, Prayojanam. What is the purpose of this study? Adhikaari, Prayojanam, Vishaya. What is the topic of the study? Adhikaari, Prayojanam, Vishaya, Sambandha. What is the Sambandha? Means relationship between the Prayojanam, which is the ultimate goal, and this book that we are, or this work or this book that we are about to study. What is the Sambandha, relationship between these two? So, Anubandha Chatushtayam involves four things: Adhikaari, Sambandha, Prayojanam, Vishaya. So, these are the things. So, we have seen Mangalacharanam is important before we start any study, and Anubandha Chatushtayam. So, here the TattvaBodha, another thing, TattvaBodha is what is called a Prakarana grantha. Grantha means we kind of touched upon it. Grantha means a collection of written work that talks about a certain topic. Prakarana grantha is qualifying what this grantha is. It is saying what this grantha is going to be about. So, Prakarana grantha means of many topics that are related in this area, you take up one particular area, one particular topic and expand on that. So, when you take up one small section of a larger knowledge framework and expand it in the form of a grantha, that is called Prakarana grantha. Okay, so this TattvaBodha is one such Prakarana grantha. There are many Prakarana granthas in Vedanta, such as Viveka Chudamani, such as Panchadashi, Atmabodha, such works. Some of them were written by Adi Shankara, some of them were written by some other author, but they are all, this is one such Prakarana Grantha. So we have seen Mangala Sloka, we have seen Prakarana Grantha, we have seen Anubandha Chatushtayam. Now let us jump into the Mangala Charanam of TattvaBodha. It goes like this: Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Gnana Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitardhaya TattvaBodha Abhidiyate. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Gnana Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitardhaya TattvaBodha Abhidiyate. Let us see what this means. See here in this Mangalacharanam, you will get a sense of what the author is not only giving Mangalacharanam, but the author is also giving Anubandha Chatushtayam through this Mangala Sloka. This is an interesting Mangala Sloka. TattvaBodha Abhidiyate. TattvaBodha, which is the name of this grantha, name of this book, is expounded, is explained. TattvaBodha Abhidiyate. For whom? Mumukshunam. Mumukshuhu. This is a very interesting term. It's a technical term in Vedanta. It is a very interesting term. Mumukshuhu. See, a little bit of Sanskrit would help us here. In Sanskrit, words are divided into two types. The entire language of Sanskrit, there are only two types of words. One is verb, the second is a noun. Namapadam, Kriyapadam. Right? Namapadam and Kriyapadam is a verb that denotes an action. Namapadam is that a word that denotes a noun, the name of a thing or a place or a person or what have you. So mumukshuhu. So each, either the verb or a noun, is derived from a root word. In the case of a verb, the root word is called dhatu, and in the case of a noun, the root word is called pratipadikam. In mumukshuhu, the root word is much. The root word is called much. Much means to liberate. Much means to liberate. So mumukshuhu, this word is what is called sannanta. Sannanta is a technical term that denotes a class of words that have a certain origin. For example, san pratyayaha dhatoho bhavati. Icharde upayujyate. Icharde means mumukshuhu means the one who is desirous of attaining liberation. What is liberation? Liberation means freedom from bondage. We will see what all this means as we go along in this grantha, because the granthakarta explains what is a mumukshutvam and all those things. But we are still in the Mangalacharanam. Because of the word mumukshunam occurred here, I wanted to mention a few words about mumukshuhu. Sannanta means, mumukshuhu means mokshe icha mumuksha. Mumukshuhu or mumuksha. Mokshe icha. Mokshe icha means desirous of moksha, desirous of liberation from the bondage of all these mundane things that are going on, and attain a state of liberation. So for that type of person, hitardhaya, for that type of person, for the benefit of such a seeker, such a person, TattvaBodha Abhidiyate. TattvaBodha is explained here. and he invokes Sri Vasudeva, he salutes Sri Vasudeva. Vasudevendra Yogindram, Vasudeva, the king of yogis, the topmost yogi. Yogi means the one who has united, who is in union with the higher self. So, Vasudeva. The word Vasudeva is in fact it is also a technical word. We use the Vasudeva for Krishna, but it has a meaning behind it. Sarveshu bhuteshu vasati iti Vasudevaha, the underlying consciousness in all beings, the deepest underlying consciousness in all beings. Sarveshu bhuteshu, in all bhutas or in all beings. Vasati iti Vasudevaha, who resides in all beings is Vasudevaha. Vasanti jaganti asmin iti Vasudevaha. Vasanti jaganti asmin. Here is the second meaning. So, the first meaning we have seen is Sarveshu bhuteshu vasati iti Vasudevaha, the one who resides within all beings. The second meaning is Vasanti jaganti asmin iti Vasudevaha, the underlying consciousness in which everything resides. The first meaning is the one who resides within every being. The second meaning is the one in which all beings reside. So, you see the subtle difference, but it is it appears subtle, but it is a huge difference. We will see as we go along. So, Vasudevaha. To such a Vasudeva, Natva, having saluted, having bowed or saluted, to such a Vasudeva, Gnana Pradam Gurum, the one who gives Gnana, the knowledge, the one who bestows knowledge, Gurum, to such a teacher, I bow. Having bowed to such a teacher, I embark in a study of TattvaBodha. So, that is the Mangala sloka. So, going on with the actual TattvaBodha, it starts off with Adhikaari. Remember, we talked about Anubandha Chatushtayam, the four requirements. In that, the first one is Adhikaari. So, the Granthakarta, the author of TattvaBodha, starts off with who is an Adhikaari, what are the qualifications of a seeker. Of a seeker of what? Of seeker of Gnana, of a seeker of ultimate knowledge. It starts off with Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannadhikarinam Moksha Sadhana Bhutam Tattva Viveka Prakaram Vakshyamaha. So, this is the first sloka. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannadhikarinam Moksha Sadhana Bhutam Tattva Viveka Prakaram Vakshyamaha. Vayam Vakshyamaha. We will explain for those who are endowed with fourfold qualifications, who are endowed with who has a fourfold qualification. See, we talked about fourfold requirements, and in that Adhikaari is number one. Within Adhikaari, an Adhikaari needs to have fourfold requirements to embark in a study of Vedanta. TattvaBodha will explain each one of these four. In fact, the first chapter of TattvaBodha is all about this. Fourfold qualifications, Sadhana Chatushtayam. Chatushtayam means a package of four, right? Chatushtayam, a bundle of four. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannadhikarinam, the one who is endowed with these fourfold qualifications. Moksha Sadhana Bhutam. It is a mode of discrimination. Discrimination means, when do you discriminate? When there are two things, you discriminate, right? So, Moksha Sadhana Bhutam Tattva Viveka Prakaram. Tattva Viveka Prakaram, the means of liberation by discerning what is a truth and what is untruth. When when two things get mixed up, you clear them up and you see the truth and untruth, and in doing so, you understand the reality behind all the confusion in this world, or the questions that need, the existential questions that need the answers. So we will see what is Viveka, what is Tattva, all these things will come as we move along. So, number 1, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannadhikarinam Moksha Sadhana Bhutam Tattva Viveka Prakaram Vakshyamaha. The second sloka is Sadhana Chatushtayam Kim. So, like as I told you earlier, this TattvaBodha is a book of definitions, of introducing certain concepts of Vedanta, and the number 1 is Sadhana Chatushtayam Kim. What is Sadhana Chatushtaya? What are these fourfold qualifications of a seeker to attain liberation, to attain salvation, to attain moksha? So, we will see in the next class. So, in this class we have seen what is a Mangalacharanam, what is a Prakarana grantha, what is Anubandha Chatushtayam, and we saw what is TattvaBodha, TattvaBodha, that is the Sanskrit one, term, TattvaBodha, and we have seen the Mangalacharanam of TattvaBodha. And in the first chapter, we have seen the first stanza and the second one. And in the next class or the video, we are going to learn about what is Sadhana Chatushtayam, what are the fourfold qualifications. Thank you for watching. If you feel like this has helped you, please share this video so that more people can join and we can all be part of a satsanga. We can all be part of a group that is like-minded, learning and seeking and so on and so forth. And as I mentioned earlier, this channel is a platform where we talk about health and wellness on one side, and Vedanta or existential or inquiry into the nature of the world, nature of the self, nature of the divine on the other side. So, these are Vedanta series and we are talking about TattvaBodha. Thank you.